nothing. Like Obama just got.
He's a black president.
Obama up there is a head figure to make us feel comfortable.
Yes. Why they plotting?
Every time you.
Why they're plotting?
Every time you believe that they win.
They make us feel like, all right, we got a black man, we got a black president.
Every time you believe that,
good.
Change is coming.
Change.
And
nothing changed. Nothing changed with Obama except him being the first black president.
See, that's the problem.
Well, they say it was the second one.
Abraham Lincoln. It was a couple black presidents, actually.
That's sad.
It was a couple black presidents.
That's
you got
sad.
black blood and you a black president.
I mean, I can't make this shit up.
You did though.
I ain't make nothing up.
You made it up, and you followed Bart Simpson into a dark closet. I can't take it. I can't take it.
I follow Bart Simpson.
The Simpsons made fun of the truth.
Yeah, it's a funny thing. But back then we was looking at it like Trump ain't never gonna be no motherfucker. And that's why it shocked everybody. Like this nigga won.
It didn't shock me. What shocked me
I told everybody he was gonna be president.
Right.
Because of my knowledge of what I knew.
You still took your vote out of the process.
No, don't.
My little vote was not gonna do anything.
Why you keep saying that it did?
You worried about who didn't vote. That's not.
Why wouldn't I worry about who didn't vote? Because 53% of the country voted.
Who voted did not matter. You know how many people voted.
You still saying that like it doesn't matter. It does matter.
I didn't want
when you take your vote out of the process, you are basically shutting up to anything happening to you. And when you do that, it's your fault. You take the blame.
It's not our fault for who we vote for. Or not.
It is your fault for who you vote for. You have to take responsibility for your actions. If you voted for Trump and you voted for Hillary and Trump won and Trump destroys the planet, it's your fucking fault and it's not your fault.
So what Hillary was going to do? If they're meeting in secret locations and stuff like that,
right?
Trump, Hillary, Bush,
right?
All that. You don't know what they talking about,
right?
So why would I vote for her?
Just like when you in your home, I don't know what you're talking about, but if I believe in your mission, let me say this one more time. I'm gonna say this one more time on this show, and if you don't do it and don't adhere by this rule, you're getting the hell out of this studio, and that's the last time I'm gonna say it.
Oh God!
One at a time. Okay. This is how we're gonna do this tonight. If you want to say something, you're gonna talk one at a time.
Okay.
Be Exposed Radio.
Let me do that.
There's certain things for everybody.
Thank you for tuning in to BeExposedRadio.com. Sit back, relax, and listen to this flashback of the Artist Exchange Radio Show.
What does hustle hard mean to you? What does that signify in your life?
That's a lifestyle for me. You know what I mean? Like, true story. I was born into a family and a community of hustlers. Now, let's get focused right quick, because when people hear the word hustler, they confuse it with con artists or something negative. So they like to call people entrepreneurs, right? But the definition, and I'm paraphrasing, but the definition of hustle is forced movement or to be hurried, right? But we're not talking about just pushing other people. Sometimes you got to push yourself, and that what makes you a hustler. True story. So the thing about it is, like, when it comes to hustling, listen, quick story. I used to go buy juleps a lot, right? And my grandmother used to make me clean the yard, shovel snow, do things like that to go get a julep. But one day she was like, look, you putting all your money in someone else's pocket.
Word.
Save those quarters, and I can teach you how to make a formula, and you can sell your own juleps. You understand? So the next couple weeks, I saved my money.
Always a hustler.
Listen,
got to love
but think
everybody
about
got
this.
a grandma's story like that.
Grandmothers are the natural hustlers because they were the ones who maintained and sustained our families through epidemics. You're talking Big Mama went through slavery and held it. You're talking Big Mama went through the Depression and held it. Big Mama went through crack and held it and still maintains it today. So if you don't think you come from a hustler, then you don't know where you come from. You understand?
That's so real.
I began to sell juleps, and ever since then, I capture a hustle. And a hustle is not a swindle. It's not a sneaky thing. It's up front. You're providing a need. You understand? So you're the bridge. If you're a true hustler, you're trying to be the bridge. If somebody's on one side and they need to get the other, you're trying to be the bridge, fill in the gap. So hustling is a lifestyle. It's not something you can do 10 minutes out the day. It has to be something you live.
Word.
Hey, what's up? This is Nate, host of the Artist Exchange Radio Show. Tune in every Friday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. and every Saturday, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Real artist, real talk, real live, here live on BeExposedRadio.com. Check out this flashback from the Artist Exchange Radio Show.
That's the biggest thing, is just empowerment. Just get off of the begging line. Just be proud and just get our pride and our dignity back, because as a child, we're taught how to go and beg for a job. Our parents, they literally taught us how to make sure you pull your pants up. Me, I'm 6'7", so I'm a bigger man. I was always taught how to not be threatening or intimidate people when I go into different interviews or different scenarios. And so we're literally taught how to condition ourselves, condition our speech, everything, in order to go and beg these people for a job, because we know when we walk in the door, I have to tear down 10 stereotypes before I get past hello. So we need to eliminate that. You know, and we need to eliminate that, and the way that we do that is employing ourselves and employing our brothers and sisters. And so that's our mission, is group economics, uplift ourselves, because I can't empower anyone until I empower myself, and change from just being willing, because it's in my heart and my passion to see my people succeed and see us do better.
Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange. Artist Exchange Live. The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange.
Starts now.
Love this one. Fail early, fail often, fail forward. You know, it's always a little bit frustrating to me when people have a negative relationship with failure. Failure is a massive part of being able to be successful. You have to get comfortable with failure. You have to actually seek failure. Failure is where all of the lessons are. You know, when you go to the gym and you work out, you're actually seeking failure. You want to take your muscles to the point where you get to failure, because that's where the adaptation is. That's where growth is. Successful people fail a lot. They fail a whole lot more than they succeed, but they extract the lessons from the failure, and they use that the energy, and they use the wisdom to come around to the next phase of success. You gotta take a shot. You have to live at the edge of your capabilities. You gotta live where you're almost certain you're going to fail. That's the reason for practice. Practice is controlled failure. You're getting to your limit, getting to your limit, getting to your limit. You can't lift that. You can't do that until you get to the point that all of a sudden your body makes the adjustment, and then you can do it. Failure actually helps you to recognize the areas where you need to evolve. So fail early, fail often, fail forward.
What's up, and welcome to the Artist Exchange Radio Show here live on BeExposedRadio.com. I'm Couser. I have the lovely Miss
Ashmiá. How you doing, world?
Joining us, and we have a couple guests coming through today. Damonn is on his way, and we're here. Yesterday was a little different. We were actually live from a taping that an awesome friend, almost I'll say a big sister of mine, she is embarking on a new project where she's giving voice to individuals who have a story in a different type of format. The first one yesterday dealt with basically his story. It was a group of young men throughout the Baltimore and beyond areas that came together, and we talked about toxic masculinity, what it is to be a man, what it is to be a black man, homophobia in the black community, and how, you know, that shapes and molds our perception, so on and so forth, on both sides of the coin. It was a very eclectic blend of men. You got to see some snippets of it, but it'll be in its entirety being produced by Miss Tracy Jiggets and her awesome filmmaking component. And snippets of it is actually in another film, so it was like 2 different film crews there yesterday, and then awesome Damonn there shooting for the Artist Exchange. So it was, for me, it wasn't overwhelming. I felt like I was in my element, but I found myself listening more than I talked. One, because Tracy had got this awesome catered meal for us, and it was this delicious kale salad, and it was stuck in my throat. That was 0.1. And I like you can feel kale in your throat, and I felt it, and I was trying to swallow, and there was nothing but wine at the table, and I'm not a drinker.
That's
so
my kind of confirmation.
Right. So I went to go drink the wine, and I didn't realize I was trying to push it down with something.
That wasn't a good move.
And I felt myself getting hot. So if you look at it, once you see the final edit, you'll see I was really shiny. I wasn't hot. I was just really shiny. I was sweating. I'm not a drinker. I don't proclaim to be one. You can call me what you want.
But you know, it was a topic at hand. You know, you needed something, a little bit of liquid motivation.
No, literally, I was trying to push down this kale in my throat. And it was crazy. It was so good. And I just kept eating it. And that's what it was.
Was it sauteed?
No, it was fresh kale.
That's why I said you need to add a little bit of juice or some broth on it or something.
It had it was oily, so most of it went down, but it was just a piece of it that was like stuck there. And it was crazy because I took a plate home and I ate part of it last night and the other half this morning, well, early this morning. And it got stuck in my throat again, but I had water this time, but I was really, I was in my mind. I know how to hold my alcohol, but I just was being quiet because the conversation got heated, and I'm real passionate about what I feel.
I noticed that. I didn't know that. That was the deal. Oh, sugar, I'm so sorry. You know,
it was some awesome people.
Easy Jackson.
Easy Jackson was there. Femi was there. I'm not familiar. Mike Jones was there. Who else? Lulu, Mr. DDM was there himself. Mr. Emmanuel. Got to meet some new people, a couple different people that I've known in the community, but we never all sit down and had a conversation. And it was interesting seeing people's perspective and hearing their stories. You know, as a man, I've grew up in really eclectic environments like Myrtle Avenue, that whole Myrtle Avenue, Argue Avenue. I spent summers and some weekends in Westport, and then we lived a little bit on the outskirts of the city. So just an eclectic blend, not having a typical, but for me, it was just a cross section of a foundation. So having people who had experiences different from mine, either agree with me or not disagree with me, was interesting to hear also. And it really spoke to where we are with ourselves. You know, we had a couple gentlemen was like, we not victims, you gotta man up and survive. And for me, I want to get rid of that idea of just surviving, and I want us to thrive. But the whole idea of us being surviving is like we gotta fight our whole time, and we gotta, you know, everybody don't get it the same way. And I equate that to, you know how you go to church and you may be new at the church or you may be young, and the people that are like 67 years old want you to be where they are. What took them 67 years to get to, they want you to be at that point. So everybody don't get it the same way. And because I work with children, I'm seeing young men who just can't, who feel like they can't be who they are. The conversation of should we cry or not came up. And half of the men was like, hey, yeah, I cry, but I cry by myself. I don't cry in front of nobody. It's a sign of weakness. And
yeah, it takes a certain type of occurrence, like a death in the family, to make you want to cry. They feel like you're weak when it comes to crying over stress. Well, it's something,
in all of this conversation, the idea of what toxic masculinity is, it's all in us. Not saying that it's good or bad, but it's in us to have these ideals about what a man is. And it's all built in your environment. Well, for me, I was just raised by my mother, and my great-grandmother were my direct parents in my home. You know, my grandmother was there. I have a bunch of women, cousins and aunts, and all the men were normally away, you know, at college, so to speak, or just away, just gone. So, you know, just in and out of the life. So my foundation and my experience was a bunch of strong women, you know, and, you know, I shared stories like I never had to really fight when I was young until I got to really high school, because I had cousins and aunts that fought for me. Like, they would fight dudes for me. So that was just my experience. I just never had to do it until I was away from them, like in high school. And that's when it was, you know, but it's just interesting to see people who come from the same place that have different outlooks and different experiences, and just to know that. So I found myself listening more. Every now and again I chimed in, but when that wine started kicking in, I was like, let me just
let me
pull this back a little bit. I'm frustrated because me and my friend went out a little bit after the fact. And I was talking to him, so some of the things that I wanted to say when
all that input just came out. Like,
when the
wine,
wine,
I should have said that.
Right. Well, no, I knew why I didn't say it, but I wish I had water at the table. But it was interesting. It was a lot of energy. There were no weak talkers amongst any of us at the table. Nobody was afraid to share their experiences, and it was just interesting to have that moment. I wish we had more time to really express that thing that's in us.
I wish more people view that video. And if you guys haven't, once again, check it out on the Artist Exchange webpage on Facebook, and also Be Exposed Radio. I definitely took a look at it last night and this morning just to kind of freshen up. And it's something that most men need to listen to. Once again, shout out to my man Easy Jackson. I like his input when he said that,
he's a weird young man. I'll just encapsulate that with that. I thought Philly was going to be the character, but it was definitely Easy.
That's all right. That's my man's though, and I like how he was definitely not vulnerable, but just open. I like that he was open to his experience about losing a very important member of his family, his mom, and also having to go on a mental health vacation.
Yes.
Most of us, most men especially, they don't like to acknowledge that and feel like they feel like they're stronger than depression sometimes. Yes, depression can be in there, but
But we talk in lieu of that conversation. Well, with that conversation came the idea of people talking too much on social media. And that, to me, because people don't have that platform. And I asked him during the conversation, how was that an option for you? And it was his environment. So the other people that were probably non-black or non-male around him gave him that as an option. Like, that was an option for him because of the other people that were surrounding him. And getting into that, so today's topic is, like, who is in your circle? Because it really means the difference between failing now or later, being able to get up from it, and it not putting all the responsibility on things that are outside of you, but your circle means life and death.
It does influence you in most ways. You know what I'm saying? Letting that mindset infiltrate your energy and your spirit and how you move.
Even if it's just inspiration. Even if it's just for inspiration. We're not looking for people to write checks in 2018. Well, we are. I'm not going to lie about that. That's
I'm going to say, don't put that out the atmosphere there.
But I'm just saying, like, the idea of, I think we're getting to a place where we're realizing there's nobody to save us. There's not this magical, I've been hearing this angel that's going to write this blank check. Like, that only exists when you've put in the work and you've prepared yourself and you've put yourself in a posture of readiness. I speak to a lot of individuals that, especially young men, and it was interesting. I worked with a group of young women this past summer, and I saw so much trauma. And I normally see that from men, but to see that from women too, I already knew it existed in a woman's culture, but understanding that we can't keep this pushing young men's feelings in and telling them get over it and figure out. Because what happens is somebody else's decisions cause that turmoil in that person's life, that young person's life. And then nobody tends to it. Most people watching it happen and feeling like, well, that's not my responsibility. And then that child turns into an adult. And then it said, well, you got to get over that. Them same people that watched you go through it are now telling you, it's your responsibility. How could you not get over that? You need to get through that. Get up and get through and get over. And I equated it to a brick wall. Like, I want to get to that other side of that wall, but that's a brick wall. Like, it's going to take a lot to get that wall down. It's not impossible, But you're telling that's what you're telling children. Life is that brick wall. Get through it. And often we're taking away resources. We just built a multi-million-dollar jail facility here for children, but yet our school system is having to do crowdfunding in order to get proper heat.
You feel me?
And warmth in a building. Like, that makes no sense to me.
It never does. It never
absolutely
does. The
no
misappropriation of our funds, our hard-working,
right,
our hard-working tax dollars.
And we're creating these initiatives that already exist in places. Like, Mayor Pugh is now doing a initiative to curb violence and crime with black men. She's put Dr. Andre Buntley in charge of it. If you don't know him, he was the principal at Walbrook Junction for a minute, and he got a lot of acclaim because he kind of, I don't know what he did. I mean, other than like latch on to some young people, because there was still a lot of those people who should have been in Walbrook that was right across the street selling drugs, but that's never here.
We digress.
And he also was a mayoral candidate, so he's now put in charge of it. And I don't have a problem with this initiative, but isn't that what the jail system is for? Like, isn't that what that is for already? Or you don't want to put them in a jail environment. You're trying to take them out of a jail environment.
Take an emotional preliminary step, I guess.
Well, it's not preliminary, because this is after the fact.
After the offense?
Most time men don't get the needed treatment that they need until after they're already too far gone in any given circumstance. You know, it's preliminary mostly for women, but for men, it's an after effect. Like, really? It is. Like, most men don't get that type of nurturing until they're already incarcerated or already too far gone in a given circumstance or a way of life. But we're going to talk more about this when we come back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BeExposedRadio.com. Don't forget to share it out, invite, all that.
Yeah.
Peace out.
Join the Just a Bit Outside crew every Monday, 8 to 10 p.m. on BeExposedRadio.com.
You want to start off?
I think I'll get it out of the way on a who's not.
Okay, do it.
The Orioles. Right. They got swept by the Royals. They lost 4 in a row, and the last 5 games have all been decided by 1 run.
Mm-hmm.
The game before, or the last game that they lost before the Royals was the Nationals, and it was Weeders, of course, won with a home run.
Hit the home run.
Right.
They were going into that national series. It seemed like they were doing so well, and they just crapped out. They got that game postponed, so who knows when they're going to replay that or play that game.
Mm-hmm.
That's my first not for the night.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and weigh in on my who's not, and I'm going to talk about the San Diego Padres.
The Padres. That's okay. You just took my answer.
They're in last place in the NL West. They've lost 8 of their last 10. Their run differential is a negative 65, which is just horrible. So when you have well, let me just talk about run differential a little bit. It's kind of like the
how much you're winning or losing your games by, pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. It's like the margin of victory, kind of.
Right.
So when you're in a negative number, that means that then
your average game you're losing
by a whole lot.
Right.
I mean, a number like negative 65, this early in the season is pretty rough.
That's horrible.
The pitching numbers pretty much support this stat right here. I mean, the team ERA is 4.70, which is 26th in the league. They have 126 walks allowed. They acquired Jared Weaver in the offseason, and he really has not panned out. He's off to one of the worst starts in any of the pitchers in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
He's 0-4 with a 6.05 ERA. In May alone, he already has 12 earned runs. 12 earned runs in May. And, another one of their pitchers, Clayton Richard, he's 2-4. with a 4.34 ERA, and in May he has 6 earned runs and 12 innings pitched. So they're not pitching well, and on top of that, they are also not batting well.
Right. But it kind of sucks because Manuel Margot is doing pretty good. His the past few at bats, his last.
Join the Just a Bit Outside crew every Monday 8 to 10 p.m. on BeExposedRadio.com.
Thank you for tuning in to BeExposedRadio.com. Sit back, relax, and listen to this flashback of the Artist Exchange Radio Show.
What does hustle hard mean to you? What does that signify in your life?
That's a lifestyle for me. You know what I mean? Like, true story, I was born into a family and a community of hustlers. Now, let's get focused right quick, because when people hear the word hustler, they confuse it with con artist or something negative. So they like to call people entrepreneurs, right? But the definition, and I'm paraphrasing, but the definition of hustle is...
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Welcome to the Artist Exchange Radio Show. We're back here. Your host, Nate. And I have the lovely Ashmiá. And Damonn is on his way. We were talking about the taping that I did last night. Well, first of all, let me just say, Tracy Jiggins is... the love of my life. And I've called her Miss Tracy since I've met her. And Tracy is only a few years older than me. But I have to say that. She's older than me. Today's topic is your circle. And for me, I've gotten really selective in the last couple months with what my circle is. So I eliminated conversations with a lot of people. I say 99% of the people that I frequently talk to, and it's not a lot. If you know me personally, you see me, and let's meet up, let's talk, let's go somewhere. I'm not the person that sits on the phone. I have maybe 5 people that I sit on the phone with, and that's it. And that's not even on a daily basis. And out of those 5, maybe one of them are people for me. Like that I really do that. And I'll say mainly one person that I'll sit on the phone with for hours. And even that person, I've eliminated this communication because I needed to see who was there for me and who was just there for the opportunity that I can bring to them. And not, to pat on my back, but I do a lot for the people that I'm around. I was just about to say that. And at some point you feel like, are you here for what I can do for you, or are you here for just a friendship? And I'm realizing a lot of people are here for what somebody brings to the table. Not necessarily me, but in my case, that's how I personally feel.
But in life, it's give and take. Regardless. But however, it's the nature of the giving and the taking. Within friendship, are you giving me motivation? Are you giving me aspiration? Are you giving me life? Like real speaking life into my struggle. No. Hello, and sometimes they're not. So that's all I'm saying. What are you contributing positively that can flourish? Some people are just providing temporary thrills. You gotta be able to use that active discernment and judge appropriately.
And it's hard for me to it's hard for me. I grew up with 2 cancers, and I'm still learning astrology.
I was going to say that. What's your take on cancers?
I won't speak my mom because my mom is that person, but my mom and my great grandmother actually both were cancers, and you grow. Like, my great-grandmother was just silent. Like, my great-grandmother didn't really talk much. My mother doesn't really talk much, but she got this heart where I would come home, and when I say this has happened several times, there was a family, literally a family, sitting in our living room or in my bedroom. And, like, she would welcome families into our home, not just her own family members, but families, like random. I never forget this. I walked into, I was in first grade, Miss Williams' class, and there was this young man, and me and him was just, It was his first day there, and we wasn't clashing.
Oh, don't
we was not hitting on cylinders.
Y'all wasn't meshing right.
We wasn't meshing, and
you walk in the house and he's sitting on your sofa.
His family is sitting on my couch, and I think my teacher knew, but she didn't say anything to me. But it was just like, and I remember when school was out that day. Like, the person was walking in my direction. I was like I just wanted to punch him. And I just remember sitting there, and his mom and siblings were sitting there with, like, their bags. And my mother would always look at me. And I don't even think... She probably found out, but... Because she worked at the schools. But I just felt like I was always that house that people, like, the refuge. So my house is not like that at all.
Oh,
but a part of me still, like, if I see somebody that needs something, I'm going to open my doors to them. And that's got me in trouble as an adult because I saw how, but I equate that to how it got my mother in trouble. But I don't even know how we got on this subject. But this understanding,
bring what you bring to the table.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
Right. What are you bringing? Like, if you're taking more from me than you bringing, the one thing should say, if I'm gonna take from you, if a real thief is gonna always make sure the source is good. Like, I gotta make sure this source is good.
Yeah.
Like, so I can keep coming back. You know, that's why I understand these Whitney Houstons and Michael Jackson. How you let somebody like that just perish? So you just drain them and drain them and drain them. A smart person would just, if you really about it, I'm going to make sure they're good. You good? You need something to drink? Your voice all right? Everything good? So that money can still come in. If you're about that life, you going to make sure that is good.
And you know what is the biggest thing with that, though? The biggest concern with that? Nowadays, people, you know, with that attitude, making sure that you're good so they can benefit, that also makes it hard for the people who just want to make sure you're good, period.
Right.
You know what I'm saying, with a pure heart. So now I don't know if you're looking out for me just to benefit from me, or you really looking out for me out the kindness of your heart.
With that, we're going to return after a few moments. We'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BigExposedRadio.com.
My name is Ruth Rusey. I'm a retired teacher. I'm 91 years old, and this is how I live united. I say retired, but not really. Once a week, I read books to children as part of United Way's education program. Reading to a child creates links between language and literacy. It creates a bond between grown-up and child. And believe it or not, it prepares them for a better academic future. Oh, we read about frogs and flies and pigs with wings, all sorts of juicy stuff. It's a joy to watch all those little faces. I figure I have the time and they have the need. And I've always believed that if we're not here to help each other, then what are we here for really? My name is Ruth Rusey. I help kids prepare to succeed in school. So I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
My name is Meera Batra. I have been in this country 32 years, and this is how I live united. America has always been the land of promise, and in my community many families have come for a better life. Coming from another culture myself, I know the desire to become part of a community, to feel at home, and to gain the tools for our children and families to succeed. So I advocate for these families with United Way. United Way empowers them to look beyond their histories and to see what opportunities are available. We help them get involved with their kids' schools, network within the community, and when we do, we unite them. We make the community stronger. What I do is something I wish someone had done for me, and I am so grateful I am able to. My name is Meera Batra. I help families see opportunities and succeed. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets. With millions of YouTube views, shares, Instagram likes, followers, and fans across the globe. But what do all these amazing pets have in common? Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a shelter or adoptable pets near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard? Well, that's entirely up to you. Visit theshelterpetproject.org and hear more about Hamilton the Pug, Toast, and Keyboard Cat's amazing adoption stories. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Your perfect pet is just a click away.
I wanted to talk to you about something and... Oh, wait, hold on. I just got a text. Oh, there's another one. Wow. Busy me. So anyway...
Oh, wait, Mom. I just got a message. My friends keep commenting on my comment. Oh, there's another one. So many comments on my comment.
Oh, I can't wait to watch TV tonight. Playoffs!
Hey, guys, check out my new video game. Pew, pew. Wait, Mom, what? Huh?
What? Hold
What'd you say? Wait a second, what?
This weekend, unplug. Take your family to the forest. There's nothing in the world like experiencing nature firsthand. Trees, paths, bluebirds, streams. Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. To find the forest nearest you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
So, since we're talking about the book, can you give people a synopsis of what the book is and what's the name of the book again, and then what it's about?
The name of the book is From Trial to Afflictions, more than one, because there were more than one afflictions.
Yes.
The book is talking about, actually, it's my life story. And I have to add in there that when that prophet told me, he said, tell your story, write the story. He said, and God said, tell your addiction. Now, see, I'm not going to tell the addiction because you have to get the book to read it. But it was about deliverance. It was about all the, trials and tribulations we go through. People that come into our life, even people that come to try and break you down or draw you down so that you can't stand for God or worship Him through your situation, because that's the adversary using them. We have to know that. But through it all, I was still praying and fasting. I needed help from God. I really did. I needed help from God to see me through. And for anyone that's going through, I say that this book is about different afflictions.
Yes.
Going through them, how you get through them. And I had a sister pushing me too, praying for me. I thank God for that again.
Yes.
But it also talks about deliverance. There is deliverance in the process.
Yes.
And you have to be willing to see yourself first, to know
Check
that
out
you
this
need
snippet
deliverance.
from the new season of Talk Lately with Monty about Jennifer Holliday.
Anyway, let's get back to
Yeah, well, what I wanted to say is that I can understand 100% where Jennifer Holliday is coming from, and that's sort of kind of where my 20% came from. When I basically came out and said who I voted for, I received a lot of backlash. Even on my own talk show, which comes on every Monday from 5 to 7 p.m., I was called a coon. Okay, yeah, shout out for the plug. But yeah, someone actually, they told CJ Bernie that I was a coon, and that really hurt me. I've been called everything from a fat whatever and everything, but someone actually commented on his Facebook
I didn't even
Live
say that. That's kind of
called me a coon, but it's
coon?
It's crazy because I just feel like someone like Jennifer Holliday. I understand why she stepped down, but I'm kind of upset with her because I think she still should have performed. If you're going to jump out there, then stand in your truth. Don't let no one stop you or change your mind about anything. And listen, no one put a gun to her head and made her sign on for that. But it just seems like, she was basically, she was bullied.
But see, the thing about it is they will put a gun to her head to not do it.
I don't think so.
Well, that's what the threat says. You got to say it's why it's called a threat. You don't know the hypotheticals in there that could happen to you.
Why do you think
she's not a well-known singer, so she's not going around with security. As soon as she goes to get her tracks at the mall,
right?
Pow!
Right, but at the same time,
now we got a whole bunch of dead cats.
Yeah, but like what she said in the footage.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show here live only on BeExposedRadio.com. I have to first say, this has been a very interesting ride. It's not over yet. I'm not saying that. But it is very interesting to. Oh shoot! You know what? I'm sorry. I thought about something and then it came to me. But it's been a very interesting ride. I've learned a lot about myself and people doing this show. And it's not that I didn't see these things, because last night the conversation really got to, we see these things as children. We don't always have words or thought to put to it or experience in terms of how to react to it. Right. But we see it. And today's topic is this really knowing your circle. And I'm not a bitter person. It takes a lot to make me mad. And it's small stuff that makes me mad. Big stuff don't matter to me, because if it's out of my control, what can I do? Absolutely. So I don't get mad. But it's small things that I see people doing, disrespectful things, not only to me or to other people, but to themselves. You know, when I'm big on making sure everybody good, because if the person to your right and the person to your left, if everybody focused on that, we all would be good. And you don't have to reach out to the world if you worried about the person to your right and the person to your left. That's it. If you just did that, and everybody else in your life, in the world, did that, just imagine how far we could be.
Yeah, but that's unrealistic sometimes, because
just the person to your right, the person to your left.
I know that, but you know, sometimes life comes at you fast, baby. Life comes at you fast, and it gets to a point where it's like, okay, I've been looking out for y'all. When is it going to be time to look out for me? When are y'all, you know what I'm saying? Right. That kind of thing. You don't even have to look out for me. When am I going to look out for me? If you keep looking out for me and I don't even know what I need or what I need to do, like, where am I going?
But it's not necessarily making you Nathan's responsibility. Okay. It is more just looking out for the person to your left, to the person, you know, your neighbor. I had this, it was crazy. I used to live off of Bateman Avenue, and I had this older lady that lived next door to us, and she had a son, but he didn't really come as often, or he would come and check on her, and then you wouldn't see him for weeks at a time. And I remember one day her alarm was going off, and I heard the alarm going off, and part of me was like, she's getting older, she probably set the alarm off and can't go, because I'm thinking about, I grew up with a great grandmother. So I just have that compassion for people, and I just think about stuff that other people don't think about, because I had to look after an elderly, older woman. So it's certain things that your mind naturally, you know, wouldn't think about. Right. So part of me felt like she probably set that alarm off, because I know her son had just got her alarm system. So I was like, she probably set that alarm off and probably can't reach it. So it took me a minute, because I went and stood on the porch, and I was like, should I go over there? Because I don't want to scare her, because we don't have, you know, she had a relationship with my mother slightly, where they would speak and we would speak to her, but it was never like she came over or we came over. And I remember I just was staying. I said, I'm gonna go over there. And I finally went over there, and I'm like nervous, knocking on the door, because I'm still like a teenager. So I'm like knocking on the door, and she opened up the door, and it wasn't even like, can you help me? Like, I'm doing, I said, I heard that your alarm was going off, and I thought you may needed some help. And she was like, yeah, I'm trying to turn it off. And first of all, if you have an elderly person that's living on their own,
check up on them.
Check up on them, one. But don't write their her alarm information was taped to the side of the alarm system. And I was like, this is the dumbest thing you could have done as her child. And it probably was the person who set it up was like, well, we gonna put it right here and we do it. But as her grown man child, why would you let the, anyway, that's another thing. That's how so, and that was like, and that was great, but nobody in the neighborhood would have thought, they would have just let it keep going off. Like, what if something was wrong? And that was part of my, like, what if something's going on over there and she's not
Everybody
home?
Don't have life alert. Check in on your elders.
Right, like check on your family members in general. But it just amazes me how we put ourselves in a space where we surround ourselves with people who are our friends. You like what I like, we doing the same things, and it wind up not going the way that you want it to go.
Like, let me touch on that real quick. So I feel something. I feel a message. You know what I'm saying? You know, something in my spirit is telling me to put this out in the atmosphere. But what people need to really realize when it comes to evaluating your circle is not just what you're giving to them, not just what they're giving to you, but how things can benefit in the long run. You ever had a moment where you think, you know, you just want to daydream, think about your circle, think about your friends, and you feel like, okay, this person ain't gonna last long.
Right.
I definitely had those moments back in the day where
everybody's not supposed to.
But you can just really see like
season, lifetime,
a reason, a season, and a lifetime. So like one thing that most people deal with when it comes to being in a circle or being in a friendship is that they develop an entitlement complex. And that is very poisonous.
You're supposed to do
what
for me. You to do for me.
Right. And don't even contribute half to what you really contributing. They really play on, you know, your giving spirit. You know, and after a while that really drains the hell out of you. You know, I had
keep going.
I had a former friend who I had a former friend who, you know, was in need and needed somewhere to stay. Whole time she had a apartment of her own. She had places of her own, and what I didn't really realize is that me and her wasn't talking for months, and she decided to come back around when she found out that I was getting my own place. So it was just like, that's what should have dinged off in me, like, dang, you wasn't talking to me, you wasn't rapping to me before I got my place. But when I announced that I'm moving up in the world and got my own little thing going on, now it's, hey girl, hey, you know what I'm saying, let's make up, let's kiss and make up, and I welcomed her back in, and I never noticed that she just wanted to be around me just to benefit. But I thought that if I just benefited from her a little bit, maybe we could, you know, last a little bit, but it wasn't, you know what I'm saying? Once I couldn't do for you and things went to crap, then it was all of a sudden I'm a bad friend.
Well, I mean,
that's really messed up when all you can think about is what you can benefit from somebody, and you know you're not giving it. You know, you're not giving half of what you're expecting from them.
And it's times when, and I've been in friendships, and it may have been coming from me, where I couldn't give equal. It was definitely I couldn't give equal, but in terms of support, and people don't count support as equal when you're giving physical things to people, and it doesn't add up all the time. But I'm realizing support is support, whether I'm sharing or liking or just being there for you, so on and so forth. It all equates to us being in a friendship. I never equate stuff to friendship.
Not just stuff, but like you just said, it has to make sense. Everything, all of the ingredients has to add up. But when it gets to a point where you're not providing enough ingredients in any type of capacity, that's when you're going to have to like put the mirror on yourself, baby. It's you. It's not me.
Right.
You know, you're not supporting me mentally or emotionally. You're all about yourself right now. While I'm all about you. Well, how does that add up?
Some of my strongest relationships are non-verbal communications where it's some of the people I know are my closest friends. Really, I don't have to say much to them. I wish we had a friendship where I talk more, but that's just me. They are that way. They communicate. Most of them communicate that way. But me, I'm not a communicator, surprisingly, verbally, outside of me being an artist or business in general. But me learning to communicate more is really showing me how, as I'm learning to communicate more, is really showing me how to assess, but see people for who they really are in your life.
That's right.
And you don't need a crowd around you. I never did, but you don't need a crowd around you. You know, I felt as comfortable yesterday and today as I feel by myself all the time. You know, and it really is interesting to me how we get ourselves in relationships with individuals, whether it be friendship or romantic relationships or family and friends or work environments. I'm all about my money and getting beyond where I want to be. You know, I want to move beyond that. But I'm not going to sell myself short just to get to where I want. I'm not going to hang around and befriend people just for the pursuit of my happiness, because I don't want anybody around me that's an opportunist.
You can't welcome distractions.
I don't. And some people think that, you know, I see what's going on with people like Monique and individuals like her, and I don't want people around me who can't. I don't want you to agree with everything that I do, but I want you to be supportive and understand where I'm coming from. You know, I just recently, you know, got into an argument with somebody who I've never been in an argument with. Like, we've never gotten an argument, but I saw it being somebody doing something for me in the guise of doing something for themselves. Well, I said that opposite, but they were doing something for themselves, and it was directed towards me. And that wasn't where the problem was, but when it got to a conflict came when I pointed that out. I pointed that out. So I want people to, and the people who I surround myself with, I need for you to be going at your dreams as hard as I'm going after mine, because it turns into a thing of, oh, I see what you're doing over there. Let me get on that board. Let me get on that train with you. And then it turns into you doing me a favor. But you doing this to get yourself forward. Communicate that. That's not a bad thing. But if you add that to the communication, that I understand where you coming from, and when I finally see it, I don't think it's sneaky. And it becomes sneaky when you know I don't know that that's what your intention is. But often I do. I'm just waiting for you to admit that and for you to understand where we are with everything and where we have to do better. But in doing better, we have to know better. So we have to get out of that era of ignorance, because ignorance is getting a lot of us into trouble right now, especially if you're nice and you're giving and you're open. That ignorance that you have, that I have, that everybody has good in them, you know, and we all do, but that don't mean that's what you presently showing me.
Absolutely.
And I can't come to me when you are ready to be an all-around good person.
Absolutely.
I can't deal with sneaky people. I can't deal with people who are not good in their own space. And to me, it's not even like a rant, or I'm not even angry about it. But for me, I've had to start over so many times because I wasn't smart enough to really put the people around me that I needed.
You're not going to be always it's a trial and error, case by case scenario.
Right.
You know, we all go through it. You know, I just said it earlier this week. You know, I cannot co-sign anyone who will go to great lengths to avoid accountability.
Right.
That is so annoying to me. You know, instead of just being accountable and just say, hey, I'm sorry, I should have just apologized. You know, you'll go out of your way to type things for likes, or, you know, trying to look for validation in other people, trying to avoid what you imposed on me in a way. You know what I'm saying? That a type of, and not, I wouldn't say insecurity.
That's
but like
what it is. You can call it what it is.
I wouldn't say I'm insecure about it, but it makes me want to question. You impose
But it
this
turns into an
on
insecurity, because now you're hyper, and that's insecurity is not a bad thing. It's just insecurity becomes a strong awareness of a specific thing or attribute or person or thing that you don't like, or just you super aware of something or someone. And the insecurity comes in when I begin to then compare myself, or I'm on this scale with this person. And when you don't know how to measure that scale, that's where the insecurity begins to flare up.
Absolutely, because you start to think like, okay, this is so simple. You're trying to simplify something, you know, just for the sake of the friendship, just to ease things out.
Right.
And people turn around and want to complicate it. And to make matters worse, they want to normalize it. They want to normalize that type of ill complication.
Like, you should be good with me treating you like this.
No,
I'm not.
We
good
all
with that.
do this. Everybody's like this, Ashley.
But I have to. I mean, for me, I have to. And we're about to close out, but I have to acknowledge my point of view in this. It's not okay. It's not okay, and you have to speak up early. Don't wait until this person's behavior has turned into a habit and then a way of life in your relationship with them before you say something, because then you're not showing up as yourself. And then the moment yourself shows up, then they like, well, I've been doing this the whole time. Why you ain't say nothing?
In the words of my beloved Ayana Vanzant, you train people how to treat you.
People think that's a bad thing, but we're going to go to break on that note. Yes. We'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BeExposedRadio.com.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin' Street? Girlin' Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Thought you was going to have my money today. Man, it is what it is. Then last week you told me your wife was cooking. Man, it is what it is. Then again, I don't think I want your wife's cooking because you don't like it. Well, it is what it is. This Fly T Miles, also known as Tyree Miles, and Mr. Miles the writer. Hip Hop K. Check us out every Friday on Be Exposed Radio. It is what it is, 9/11.
Yo,
listen,
our principal used to put, we talk in the cafeteria, he gonna put us on that wall, and he going down the line.
That, right? I was at Lamell Middle School. I had a principal by the name Mr. Moore. He used to point at me in my forehead and smack the shit out of it. Anytime I did something wrong.
Yeah.
But it was discipline.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. We don't got that now. Listen, bro.
It's
nowhere now. That's the
with my mother.
It's no
come through the school building. Do that now, you go to jail.
My mother come through the school building, and you hear her from the front door. I don't give a fuck if y'all call 911. 411, 211, 311. I'ma whip his ass.
Right.
And I'm in the classroom acting like a clown, and I said, "Oh, somebody, mama finna whoop they ass, right?"
It is your wife for the whole time.
Look, she got that fucking corner, and I'm up on the board drawing dumb shit. She said, "What the fuck you doing?" I said, "Nothing." She said, "Come here. You wanna be a fucking class clown?" Shit. She said, "Pull your pants down." I looked at her like, "What?"
Whoa.
She said, "Don't worry about it." She snatched that fucking leather belt off so fat, man, she will wham my ass out.
Man, you the ringleader.
Oh, no. She said, "Look.
You want to be in circus? You be the ringleader."
She said, "Now apologize to the class."
Right.
I was so fucking embarrassed. I said, "I apologize." Look, I apologize. She said, "Say
Check out the snippet from the new season of Talk Lately with Monty when he rants about his staff.
Great. Can you come on? I told you stop touching that button. You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com, the home of Talk Lately with Monty, every Tuesday at 7 p.m. You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com, the home of Talk Lately with Monty, every Tuesday at 7 p.m.
Hi, I'm LeVar Burton, and I'm proud to be a book person. How do I choose a book? Sometimes it's the cover, sometimes it's the title. I guess I'm pretty visual. If a book's really impressing me and the writing is really good, I will peek and see what the last paragraph is, because the endings of books should rock you. I am a book person, and if you're a book person too, read to a child and spark a lifetime of ambition. Join me at bookpeopleunite.org, because reading is fundamental. A public service announcement brought to you by Reading is Fundamental, Library of Congress, and the Ad Council.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com, the home of Talk Lately with Monty, every Tuesday at 7 p.m.
Check out this snippet from the new season of Talk Lately with Monty about Jennifer Holliday.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin' Street? Girlin' Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
So welcome back. Welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show here live only on BeExposedRadio.com. One of our guests has gotten here and he's on time. I love that. But he's a dancer, so that's their thing. They're very prompt individuals for the most part. My experience has been they're very prompt individuals. But Mr. Everett, should I give you a whole government or you want to do that?
Oh, no, it's fine. You can go on ahead.
So, Mr. Everett, he has joined us. And like I said, this year, I'm going to do things a little bit different. For me, I went outside my comfort zone, and in doing this show for so long, I have so many artist friends, and I could not turn this into couch talk with Nate anymore. Like, I needed to go beyond that and meet people who I didn't meet. And the last year and a half on the show, I've gotten to meet people from Iraq and Australia and other continents. But I really wasn't trying. These people were contacting us, and I was like, oh, let's go. Okay, you from Nigeria? Okay, we can talk. And I would invite them on. And but I found this app. Actually, my intern found this app. And it's, I don't want to call it like it felt like a dating site. I mean, it's not that. I'm not saying that. But it was just, all you're doing is you see people, you see their profile is real basic. There's not a lot of information you can put in there. And you can just swipe left, swipe right, pass. So I think it's pass or match. But you really are connected with people with the least amount of information. And you have to really fill that little space that they give you with as much about yourself as you can professionally. And it was really interesting to meet the different individuals on there, and then it invites you to meet these people. Like, don't just talk or chat, but actually create a space for yourself to create conversation. And Everett was one of the people that I got to meet on there, and I'm really interested in just meeting people and hearing their story and figuring out how to work, because it feels like they're trying to create a space for us to work together or at least learn from each other. So meeting you and realizing that you're a choreographer and you're a creative director of a dance program, and you just recently moved and relocated, just that little bit of information, just in our initial conversation, was interesting enough for me to be like, hey, come on down. He came from Philly. I should have caught a ride with him, but I had to be here earlier. But
what part of Philly did you come from?
Well, I actually live in Claymont, Delaware. So I'd say Philly because anybody
it's
knows
right
where
there.
Claymont is.
It's like the trifecta kind of.
Yeah, it's kind of like the suburbs.
Right.
Of Philly. You know, I like to kind of think of that. Yeah. So it was about an hour-and-a-half drive. So, but I mean, I have a car, put gas in that thing, come on down.
See, and that's all it is. I have people that live in D.C. be like, oh, that's too far, that's not good.
I didn't get the address in time, so.
Right.
I'm not going to be able to make it to
all no, she wants to talk to you about that. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Everett, and who you are and what you do.
Well, I'm originally from New York City.
Okay.
Grew up in Queens.
Okay.
So many different parts of Queens. Astoria, Woodside, Queens Village. It's like as I got older, like the closer towards Long Island I was getting, but like my life would still kind of stay in the like Astoria, Long Island City area. So grew up there, and then once I finished high school, my mom got a job offer in Rock Hill, South Carolina.
Oh wow!
And she was like, "Okay, so me and your sister, we're moving, and what you gonna do?" So I had just I was accepted into I think Queens College, and the day before they moved, I was like, you know what? I'm 18. I don't know anything about living on my own. It's way too expensive, too much. So I was literally canceling my classes over the phone, canceling my scholarships. I was like, bye. And next day in the car, drove down.
Do you regret doing that?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I really don't.
That was so.
Was it just fear of being by yourself, or just?
Well, you know, a lot of it is financial.
Okay.
You know, and I didn't have any extra family I could like crash with. You know, I had like friends in high school, but like none I could be like, hey, can I crash on your couch? That kind of thing. And you know, when you grow up in like that type of like city environment, like it's crazy all the time. It's hectic, and I just needed something different. And I knew I was different when I arrived in the loveliness of Rock Hill. And
you just hear the names.
I mean, I walked into a Target and everyone was just moving so slow. I was like, "What? Can we hear this?"
Right?
I got
You're so used to the hustle bustle.
That makes me think of that little video going around in the man at Walmart that's slowly checking people's stuff out. Yeah. It's a culture shock, and I can imagine what they feel coming to a northern place. Like, slow down, please.
Yeah, they lose their mind, and so I had to check myself. I was like, ooh, all right, calm down.
Relax.
It's okay. You know, it'll be fine. Ooh, let me climb on top of the microphone. So, you know, I definitely enjoyed my time there. I went to Winthrop University.
Okay.
So it took me 2 years to get into college because my transcript, they wouldn't take it. They're like, oh, you need to have 3 lab sciences instead of 2. And I'm like, I am a biracial male dancer from New York City. I have 66 credits to my name. I only needed 24 to graduate from like South Carolina. I'm like, I have 66 credits. I got 7 regions, diploma. They're like, oh, that's cute, but no. I was like, oh. So it took me 2 years to finally get into college, which was great because I got a little bit of the adult world, like, I did little jobs here and there, worked at a car wash, I worked at that Target.
Your feet wet.
Yeah, you know, so, and it was great because when I knew I went to college for dance, like, I knew that that's what I was going to do. Like, I didn't change my major, I didn't do anything insane. I was like, nope, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm excited about it. So I went and spent my 4 years there, did every single dance show possible, tried to, you know, make friends. I actually joined a scholarship program called the McNair Scholarship Program.
Woo! That'll save your life. It's hard, but it'll save your life.
It did, and I met so many different people, and it was amazing because my mom always knew I was smart, and I always knew I was talented within the arts, and this program allowed me to combine those two things.
But you, and being a McNair student, you have to be beyond smart. You have to be that person that just lives with a book in their face.
And you have to be innovative. Like, you have to just be that person that's going to take the world by storm. And I had no idea what I was doing. My director, who we call Mama McNair, Dr. HullyWood, she was like, you know what? We gonna try this out. Let's just see what happens. So I wound up doing 2 research projects. One on the choreographic processes of MFA students, because I knew when I was in college that I wanted to work in higher education. And when I started in 2008, the market had kind of crashed. So they got rid of all of the adjunct professors. They got rid of all of them because they couldn't afford them. And they're like, well, unless you have this piece of paper called the Master of Fine Arts degree, you're not considered hireable. And I was like, oh, that's the piece of paper I need to have a job? Okay, well, what do I have to do to get this piece of paper? What's it going to take? So I did I did a research project on talking to MFA students about, how do you guys create pieces? Like, what is your driving force? Who are you inspired by? What artists, do you look towards? And I was able to present that research in New York State and also at Winthrop. And then the next year, I did a project on the social stigmas of male dancers. I wanted to look at like, why do people say the things they say about male dancers? Like, what's this thing like, oh, all male dancers are gay, all male dancers, they've got no backbone, they're weak.
They're relegated to just be props.
Right, exactly. Like, you're like, you just hold the girl up and down, you throw her over there, you catch her over here, and it's like, oh, it's more than that. So the funny thing is, I had this whole idea. I was gonna go up and down the East Coast. I was gonna go to studios and companies, and I was gonna have focus groups. And I came across a big book, and this professor out in the Midwest had basically already done my research. He had about 1,000 surveys. He had talked to all these different, he talked to boys, he talked to teenagers, he talked to men, And I was like, well, there goes my project. Like, I can't. I'm like, the man's already published, you know? And what I learned, a big lesson I learned was that you want to contribute to your field. You don't want to basically rehash what someone's already...
Recreate the wheel.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. So did you add anything more to that research project?
Well, I had a breakdown. I was flipping out because I had to present this in Atlanta. I had 2 weeks to present this research, and I was like, I ain't got no project.
Right.
So what I did was I cried. My director calmed me down. My
get it together, Everett.
Right. Just all that. You can share that. my mentor calmed me down, and then I only lived like 10 minutes away from my mom, like because I was able to stay on campus, and I went home. I busted into the front door. She's like, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "I'm not saying anything." And I made a pot of pasta.
Some comfort food.
Was it something in this pasta?
Oh,
that's kind of disgusting.
Lord, butter
That's
noodles. Look, I had a pot, a whole box. I had a box of butter noodles, and I just sat there and I ate, and I was like, okay, I'm ready. Like, what are we gonna do? And so my mom was like, are you done being dramatic? I'm like, I don't know. And
we get one more spoon.
I just need one more forkful, and we'll be good to go. And the cool thing was, my mom was like, why don't you just flip it? So instead of talking to male dancers, talk to non-male dancers about stigma and perceptions of. And I was like, duh. So I wound up having 200 surveys done, and actually had an international response too. My friend, she is a Hanson fan. Like, yes, they're
don't tell your age, because then people know how old you are.
Oh my God!
Right. I mean, she
bop.
Yes.
Oh my God!
Yes.
I was just trying.
Yes,
I was trying to hold it in.
They grown now. They don't have that long hair no more. But she's a Hanson fan, and she sent out my survey, and so I got results from Australia, from Austria, from Germany, from England, and it was so fantastic. So from that experience, it taught me that I could conquer anything, you know, that I could really, you know, not be afraid, because there was always a plan B that I could find, that there was someone on my side to help me out with that.
Just like that. Good.
It is interesting to, one of my, I went to school with a young man, and he wasn't the normal, he didn't look like the normal dancer, which is crazy, because we're all artists, and we went to a school where, for some reason, a lot of us that didn't fit the norm was trying to be something that people told us we weren't the norm for. Like, I wanted to be an actor. I didn't look like the leading man. He wanted to be a dancer. He didn't look like, he wasn't tall and, you know, muscular. He was short and, like, really thin and, like...
Yeah, that's...
But it just, it's crazy what perception... and it's more us, like the people from the inside out, whether it be your culture, whether it be your race, whether it be your profession. It's the people on the inside telling you that you aren't this, or you can only do this.
Right. Oh, I thought I was like the ish. You know, like when I was at school, like I got all the roles I wanted. Like I was everything. And then when I got to grad school,
got out of that fishbowl.
Oh, child.
Life came at you fast.
Oh, it did, because I went to NYU for grad school, so I had found myself back in New York City. And I was like, you know, let me audition for some things. So I auditioned for 2 cruise ships, and I remember I walked in, and there was me, and there were 2 other, like, brown boys. And there was one, he was like 6'2", Adonis gorgeousness. He had just finished his contract with Dance Theater of Harlem, ballet company. So I was like, that's okay. So they were like, hey.
You know
I'm like, that's okay. Like I was so bold. They were like, okay, so we're gonna do our ballet combination first. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like we want a triple pirouette turned out. I said, oh, okay, I got you. So I danced next to the Dance Theater of Harlem guy. I was like, I got this. You ain't got me. I did my triple pirouette next to him. We were in sync. We were fabulous. We did our thing. Guess who was the first one to get cut? Me. Because I was shorter. I was a little plumper, you know, and his resume had, you know,
it seemed more lean.
Right. It had that it factor. Meanwhile, there was some other men in there who had no idea what they were doing. They were falling out of their single pirouettes. I'm like, this is not a class act y'all are giving me. But I had to learn that even though I may think that I have it together, other people aren't going to say that. I did a Saturday Night Fever cruise ship audition. I was giving you everything. Leg, layout, hitch kick, bah. Yeah. First one to get cut. I'm like, but there was this other guy who had like basically no dance experience, but because he was so like extra theatrical, they picked him. I auditioned for Kinky Boots. Never even got to audition because I was.
And that was the point of that, was to be outside of the box of what is the norm.
Oh my God! When I tell you there were 200 of us that showed up at the audition, and you saw straight men, gay men of all colors, shapes, and sizes. We all walked into that room with our highest heels on. Some people had short shorts. I had on my nice, straight leg jeans. I was like, I'm gonna show you these legs. And they lined us up, 10 in a row, and they had our resumes, and they went down the line and they said, you and you. Next line, you and you. I mean, I didn't even get a chance to even do the audition. Like, they just lined us up and cut us. They were like, okay, thank you.
People outside of the performance realm, they don't really understand, one, the work that goes into preparing yourself, but just the constant scrutiny that you got.
Yeah.
And for me, dance was, it was a part of what I did. I was really clumsy, so a lot of my professors in sports would make me take dance classes. So I took a lot of dance classes growing up. And I was always told my butt was too big. And I'm like, well, what am I going to do with it? And they'll say something like, just tuck it. Where's it going to go? Like, what am I going to do?
This is my body. I can't.
Right. It doesn't shapeshift. Right.
Yeah. I had a costume designer. She was hilarious freshman year. And when I started at Winthrop, there was me and 2 other men. Now, they were real thin. I'm talking like nobody, like just, applied, 2x4 plywood.
The norm.
Right, the norm. And they were just a little taller than me, but that's okay. And so we went into the costume shop, and she was like, okay, so we're going to do measurements. And so she took the 2 gentlemen. She's like, so as you can see, these guys have, your typical measurements, da-da-da-da-da-da. And then she came to me, and she was like, and then we have other dancers like Everett, who have a little more body on him. I mean, my measurements were like 2, 3, 4 numbers up than the other ones. And she was like, so you have to add a little bit more around the hips and around the waist. I'm like, girl, are you trying to read me right now? I'm like, this is freshman year in college. Like this. I'm like, and this is in front of the entire class, like 30 of us deep in this costume shop, and she's reading me for filth. And I'm like, you know what?
And that's a performance art class.
Right.
In general. Like, you're part of the class is you being ridiculed.
Oh, yeah.
And just picked apart, and you're supposed to take it. And then at the end, they'll tell you, well, you know what, this may not be for you.
Right.
It may not be for you, especially when you go off. I'm sorry, I was that person. But I shouldn't have, but you still have to focus on what you have. And one of the things that I try to tell people who want to go to school for what they want to do in the arts is you have to have a mindset that this is this person's perspective. That they learn a way to do something, and this is what they're now regurgitating. And it's up to you to take what you need from that and then take your own instincts and make better decisions for yourself. But don't stay stuck in what a professor says to you or what a dean says to you or adjudicator says to you, because it's their opinion of who you are. And we have vehicles now where you can go create your own lane. You don't have to do things the way your professor says it has to be done. Shakespeare is no longer significant to me, because I know who August Wilson is now. So I was taught that this was the standard of being an actor, and that is BS. So
that's right.
And it's okay that you're not everyone's cup of tea,
Yeah,
like it's totally okay. Like, and I had to tell my students that all the time. I'm like, you think that because you're fabulous and you can put your leg behind your head that somebody's gonna want you. I'm like, that is definitely not the case. I said, so you have to be more than just a limb that can move or just, a tall, pretty face. It has to be more than that. Like, you actually have to be like the artist. You actually have to evoke something. You gotta give me something.
You have to find a way to invoke your personality in everything that you do.
Right.
Otherwise, you won't have anything distinctive about your character. You won't have anything distinctive about what you can provide to anyone.
Right.
But like, what's your zhuzh?
But even
zhuzh. What is your zhuzh?
But your zhuzh is built on you being yourself. We've seen a lot of people that are like breaking out as breakout stars that we see were being themselves. You know, a Cardi B and what's her name, Haddish. You can tell that that's who they are in real life. And at some point, people will connect with that because they like, okay, so it's okay for me to be crazy. Okay, I can do that. I can do that.
No, don't. I can't do that. Just be you.
Right. Well, no, but some people
the authenticity of it.
That, right?
Yeah, it's the authenticity. Just stick to it. Just stick to your own script, what you've always been doing, and just things will come into play. Things will manifest.
Grow, please grow, but learn. But just start with your core, being yourself. But we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with Mr. Everett when we return. And I believe our second guest is here as well. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com, the home of Talk Lately with Marnie, every Tuesday at 7 p.m.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com, the home of Talk Lately with Marnie, every Tuesday at 7 p.m.
Check out this flashback from the Artist Exchange radio show.
So you're your biggest asset. Mm-hmm. You have to practice self-care. Every entrepreneur has to practice self-care. You have to release yourself from toxic situations.
Explain to us real quick, what is a toxic situation?
A toxic situation is something that will control your mind, something that hurts you, something that you have to battle, toxic, hurt. If you're in a toxic situation, if you get hurt, if you get pain, if you get struggle, right? And if your spirit does not align correctly, that may be a toxic situation. So when I say you make that jump when your values don't align, you make decisions based on your values. And if those decisions don't align with your values, then that's when you say no.
Tune into the Artist Exchange every Friday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. every Saturday,
baby
12
shampoo because it's
live.
gentle on your baby's eyes. You make sure his toys don't have any sharp edges. You always test the bathwater to make sure it's not too hot. You taught her what to do when the smoke alarm goes off. You make sure she wears a helmet when she rides her bicycle. You put on his sunscreen, even when he's embarrassed his friends will see. You do so much to keep your child safe. But are you using the right car seat for your child? Is your child facing the right way in the car seat? Is the seat too big or too small? How do you know when it's time to move your child into the next type of seat? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. For information on the right seat for your child, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat. That's safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Having trouble finding Connor's middle school? Would you like directions?
No, why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
No, I'm tired of fighting with him over homework.
Home, walk, restaurant. Need a review?
No, I need help. He's very smart, but his mind wanders. He's disorganized.
I think I understand.
Oh, good.
Finding best potatoes for French fries.
No!
Russet, fingerling, Yukon Gold.
Why don't you understand me?
Sorry, I was trying to show how Connor feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Brought to you by understood.org and the Ad Council.
You thinking about getting your GED diploma? Well, here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we've got a number of pep talks that can motivate you.
Sometimes things don't always turn out the way you want them to.
You know that feeling? People look at you and don't believe in you.
You want some gentle encouragement.
Then you're on your way to your GED diploma and a better life.
But I know they're probably just a little bit nervous.
You can find it in yourself to take that first step.
You can improve your future. You can do this. I know you can.
You need to start pushing yourself.
Now get your game face on and take the first step towards a better life. Hurry up. Don't make me repeat myself.
Whatever level of motivation you need to get your GED diploma, we've got a pep talk that's right for you. Call 1-877-38-YOUR-GED or visit yourged.org for your pep talk and find free GED classes in your area. GED is a registered trademark of the American Council on Education. Brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com, the home of Talk Lately with Monty, every Tuesday at 7 p.m.
Just a bit outside radio show.
There is one glaring stat that I read about while watching the games over the weekend. New York Yankees went 22 straight innings with at least one strikeout.
Really?
That's a major league record for the postseason.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's an interesting statistic.
It is, you know, and then when you think about it, it's like, okay, you know, that, to me, that's like a big reason why, you know, they're losing right now.
Join the club that gives you stuff.
Hey, thanks!
Radio Loyalty.
Here's how it works.
Just click on the Radio Loyalty banner right now and sign up. Then, you keep on listening like you already do. But now you earn points. Those points add up, and you can trade them in for stuff in the Radio Loyalty store. Earn more points by sharing your station with friends on Facebook and Twitter, answering surveys, and by using the apps in the New Players App Store. Pretty simple, right?
Radio Loyalty.
Click that banner to join now.
You are tuned in to BeExposedRadio.com.
Not what's going to happen.
That's exactly.
Do y'all think that we're about to go to war with North Korea?
We're going to get tracked down, huh?
Do you think North Korea is going to bomb us?
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show here, live only on BeExposedRadio.com. I'm your host. We have the awesomest
Ashmiá Mac.
She'll be joining us regularly here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show. When we last were on, we were talking to Mr. Everett. He was giving us some insight on just the world of a performance artist. Because I would say that's very similar to many other performance artist backgrounds. Just the constant scrutiny and then the struggle of getting over and getting through it. But joining us is Mr. Ivan Martin. He's a comedian, another performance artist. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Thank you for coming.
Hey,
you look real suave, real warm.
It was a little nippy today.
Just a little bit.
I got on like 3 or 4 layers and Under Armours and armors of sorts up under there.
It'll be spring tomorrow or one of the seasons tomorrow.
That's perfect influenza weather.
Right.
Yes. Perfect. Everybody ready to catch the hawk.
Right. Last week it was just spring, and then the actual winter decided to show up. And I think one of the hedgehogs, or what you call them?
Groundhog. Predicted 6 more weeks.
Yeah,
but then the other one said it's over. It's about to be spring. So I wonder, I've always wondered, why do we listen to groundhogs? And why do we listen to people who interpret groundhogs?
Well, you know, it's different in the hood. If the roaches go away before that big moon.
I thought it was the mice.
It's about to warm up.
I thought it was the mice.
They like, we can go outside now. But if you still, you know, either or, rodents of all sorts.
So depending on
when they start to disperse, it's about to get warm.
You want something?
So depending on your hood, it might be a roach, it might be a mouse, it might be a pigeon.
It might be mice. Why you depleted it down to one? A mouse. This ain't Ratatouille. People don't got one mouse. Right. You might as well have said a roach. He did say it might be a roach.
And roach.
Got one roach.
Just one.
Joe's a part of one roach.
The hope is it's just one of them. The hope is it's not a family.
Right. Roaches do not move like spiders. You've never seen a group of spiders. You always see a group of roaches. Where there's one, there's many.
That's right.
With roaches.
That is a true
That's
statement.
scary. That's a scary statement. Please, Lord.
He's like, yes. You don't know.
It's a realization. We ain't choosing roaches, they chose us. Just
right.
Keep that mindset. That's all they need to know.
People get used. You know?
Anyway. So Ivan he's awakened. So tell us a little bit
about
that. He brought the spirit of roaches.
Yeah,
I know, right? I was just like, this is sidebar. I have a phobia of mice, more specifically rats.
Of
if
course
you want to see this,
I don't know how you
this
can tell
well, I don't know.
Might
I
tell
mean,
the
that's
nice
what
baby
I'm
rat.
saying.
Rather than
I
big old
don't care
ones.
how thoroughly he washed himself. You know, did you see that video of the rat, you know, going under the armpits and everything, getting all into the next
That was
crevices?
a cartoon.
No.
Please tell me that was a cartoon.
No, it's real, baby.
No.
It's real.
Not here.
It's
Not
real.
today.
It's
No.
a rat, you know, sitting in a stall somewhere. He had his own personal stall and everything, standing up, lathering up. Did you see it?
I didn't see that. Did you? Oh, I saw the one of the rat in New York up under the. You know how they be letting out the hydrant so the kids can play. So the hydrant, the fire hydrant was open and the rat was just like doodly doo.
Yeah,
like,
you
know, he was in the same. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
You have no idea.
I don't know what
They still carry
shower.
No.
Right. My mental capacity just really went off. No, I don't want to see that. I don't like
he started clapping.
It's not Coach. I'm like,
no, I don't.
I don't do rats.
It's
I
not. I mean, look at that. I mean, he is literally just like. I mean,
and I live in Baltimore City, and I know not to go downtown after a certain hour because they come out to play.
I mean, he's using the Bath and Body Works products, you know.
That Dove soap.
Yes.
Dove,
yes, moisturize. Yes, Dawnn.
With Dove soap.
Yeah.
I never seen it, not Dow, because he got nice skin. But I never seen
You use Dow, you get Dow 911.
No, I know, right?
Break out some severe eczema. Case of eczema. Child.
Anyway.
Where did we go?
Who are you, Ivan? Outside of your rat story. No more analogies. My body is rat. I don't do rat.
Look
at you done did tonight.
I know, right?
Not even squirrels. I don't know. I just.
You the type of person to spray Raid on a rat. Like,
I
get out of
got
here.
it.
Like, what are you doing?
What is
This
this?
is perfume. It's nice. Is this Fenty? Is this Fenty?
Oh,
this looking nice.
No, not.
All right, so I am originally from Jacksonville, Florida, born and raised. Came up to the north originally through the military, 2 deployments, Iraqi Freedom and Hurricane Katrina. Started doing comedy, stand-up comedy, and I say 2006, 7.
Was that your therapy? Part of your therapeutic?
Oh, nah. It was
therapy?
Nah, man. It was military was cool, man. I mean, it was dangerous as hell. You know, things was happening, but I mean, it was what it was. And I can say this though, I attribute a lot of my, and this is gonna sound crazy, but form of like sanity, because it gave me a chance to get away from the world and not necessarily see things in a different way, but just a chance to get some clarity, you know what I'm saying? And being out to sea and being in other countries and even having weeks at a time by myself.
So you went to the Army for clarity?
That was Navy.
I'm sorry.
Hey,
right,
I'm a Navy baby.
All right.
So you went to the Navy for clarity just to get out and see a different world?
Okay. Yeah, man. You know, I was from Duval was nice. Duval. But everything was Gucci. But, you know what I mean? It was just like, I knew I had to do my thing. So Virginia Beach was lovely. I started comedy there, thankfully, out of the Virginia Beach Funny Bone. And within like the first few years of my career, I worked with Kevin Hart, Bruce, John Witherspoon, Jeff Dunham.
He just dropped a couple things.
You know what I mean?
Just a couple.
Man, I'm just saying.
A couple of names.
Continue to build my resume and keep going on and work at other clubs. And thankfully, my favorite, since it's everybody listen, my favorite Funny Bone's Connecticut Funny Bone, crazy. But shouts out to Fred, the manager up there. But yeah, I mean, just it gave me an opportunity to travel around and be able to get my material, tight. And my business mentor, we ended up opening up a subcontracting company, and I moved up to Baltimore. And long story short, it was cool. I made a few mistakes when I moved here. Like I said before, like speaking of rats, I never saw one of those till I came here. And I'm telling the only rat I ever saw before I came here was Tom and Jerry. And then after that,
it's
seriously.
rats in Jackson.
No, it ain't. It might be.
And possums.
See, we got possums.
They rats.
You'll see a turtle maybe in Florida, but not no rat like that.
And the fact that one of
y'all
our
got the
rats
alligators too, right?
You do got,
that says a lot about our
He
rats.
said, Everett was like, y'all got them alligators too, right? He said like alligator shoes.
Yeah.
Alligator. Yeah, that's the only way. That's the only time when people say alligators like that quickly. Like, yeah, got them alligators on. But when we say we talking about live alligators, we pronounce the whole thing. That's an alligator.
Like
alligator.
Yes. You know the difference.
Yes, alligator.
Did you try to be one without rats and it didn't? The relationship didn't work out.
Try to be
man. But I really like the city, man. Like, I made some mistakes when I first moved here. Like, I ain't know at first. I was like, I need to live somewhere in the middle of the city, near a light rail and a subway, in case I can't move around.
City like
and that neighborhood was Penn North. Yeah, it was cool. You know what they treated me like over there? It was like when I would walk down the street looking like this and everything, the people that was doing their thing, they would treat me. You remember the McDonald's Calvin commercial? Yeah. Where Calvin be walking down the street and everybody stopped doing their thing, like, shut up, here come Calvin. Calvin got a job. look at Calvin all nice and stuff. Calvin be like, yeah. I didn't know I was in the hood like that.
What you not would do in my city.
You know what I'm saying?
I go back to Duval.
I'm done. I ended up I bought crack by accident one time.
Wait, I'm
on
sorry.
North Avenue in Penn North.
What you won't do is
trying to buy gasoline. That really happened. Okay. Y'all familiar with North Avenue? The Quest, the Test, the Hess,
the tiny one.
The one that you're supposed to go to only for loose ones, DVDs, and anyway,
the
tiny one, yeah.
You
know what? I'm done.
I worked there my junior year in college.
I can believe it.
I saw a lot. I'm not giving you no
so
free
you can
material.
believe me. You can believe me.
I see
you can believe me. You can believe me.
I can.
Like not for the material.
By accident.
I've seen people hide behind our gas station and smoke. And the flame was not the color of a normal flame.
How does he get a blue lighter flame like that? What is going on? Is he blowing orange smoke out of his mouth?
So your first couple months here was just basically you writing jokes in a book, because this was a lot of material, especially in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Just sitting in that Burger King
paper
alone.
and everything. Yeah, man.
Baby.
Stop.
Whew.
I can't.
Those days back then, man.
Baby.
How long have you been here?
I want to say 7-8 years now.
Okay.
So yeah, that was back then.
So you've been infiltrated.
I done switched up. I'm in Bolton Hill now. I done switched up. See, I done moved on up. I done switched it. And we still in the hood. Like, you throw a football to my old neighborhood, but it's right. You know what I mean? I still get my hair cut on the same block. How about that?
He just moved across the street, basically.
There's a literally. That is exactly what happened. I was like, what's going on? Those people seem happy.
Okay, because they're crazy.
They have neighborhood patrolmen. So I moved on over there.
That's what we say about Bolton Hill.
I'm done. It really is. I wish I could go to Bolton Hill, but unfortunately I was on Preston Street. Shout outs to the Lonely 5 occupied homes on that block out of the 20.
5 Coppin University, aka North Avenue University. Shout out Eagles.
I can't.
Don't laugh, because that's my alma mater. Don't do it. Don't do it. But
well, the student center is my Damonn. Let's do it. No, I'm
sorry. You gotta get out of this building. That's what we're saying. You gotta get out of this building.
Girl, you going to the student center?
See, this is what happens when you come from the south and you come to the north. He did the opposite.
But I love it.
I went down, then came back.
I love it, though, man. I love this city, man. I do. And the comedy scene here has grown so much. Last year, so many other venues popped up on the scene, and we produced the first annual Baltimore Comedy Festival, which was 15 venues all throughout downtown Baltimore. Over 100 comedians in town from all over the world: South America, Canada, Australia, LA. It was really nice. So,
and a lot of the art scene is resurging, because this used to be music and comedy. Red Fox, a number of those individuals had clubs here. So it's coming back. Monique used to have her club here.
The Royal Theater.
That whole corridor. So it's
like major history here.
Yeah. And I'm loving that it's resurfacing in a way that is making it more active and more fun.
Sure is. Things is in the works. I can feel it in the air.
Oh yeah, big things. Everybody knows this is one of the cities of the new frontier of the art scene, especially along the East Coast. A lot of people, as I travel other
places, they don't give us our
see
credit, but it's getting there. It's getting there.
When it pops, it's gonna pop. It's gonna happen. It's gonna, and everybody's gonna think that it's always been like that and it all happened at, but no, it's gonna all happen at once.
Well, and the crazy thing is, it has. It just was never seen as that's what's happening in Baltimore because you saw all the other stuff like you just discussed her.
But that's the stuff that I like, though. There's nowhere else that I could walk out of my house within 5 minutes, have a still reserve, a loose one, and be sitting on the stoop chilling.
And not go to a store.
Exactly. not have to walk. I didn't walk in nowhere. I just walked outside.
That's how we all look
I just walked outside, and it's like,
other.
what you doing, Shorty? Come on, say, like, all right, well, this is the charm, I guess.
So how does
this is what they talk
everything at your doorstep?
This is what they're talking
You
about.
have to just spin it. It's all about marketing. It's all about marketing. You got to market us correctly. It's
not the way we do our own hospitality. You know?
So how for both of you coming from one place and going, because he did the opposite. He was from the north and went to the south, and you did the right. So how was the culture shock? He was telling us it was much faster versus going to slow-mo, but you're telling us it was a totally different environment.
Yeah.
How was it kind of shaped the two of you in terms of that?
Oh, I get. I in the words of Genuine, I'm still the same OG that I was, back in the day.
Yes, he got a different type of hood from now.
I've been, yeah, no, you are right about that. I have a loose one in my pocket right now. You are so right about, you think I'm lying. You think I'm lying. I'm so serious for the people that are tuned in. Check it out. But yeah.
Because that's a whole nother level.
Right. No, this is the one I bought a week ago for emergencies. That you just keep on you. You're like, man, what is that?
You got an emergency?
Yeah, you got an emergency cigarette too? No, don't worry about it. But anyway.
My mama's watching. Hey, Mom.
You know what I'm saying? But
I don't do that no more.
Don't do that, Mom.
This is what I can't say, man. I don't know. It was. I would say this. The South is a
if you can like edge your body around, because the people would love to see what you look like.
Bam.
He actually took a shower today, so
I take 2 showers today.
Oh my God, me too.
You know, I don't know what's going on. I had met this girl one time, and she was like, "I don't take a shower before I go to bed," and I was like, "You stinky slower."
Did you stay with her though? That's the question.
No, I created this nice reason to go home.
Okay.
You gotta keep a few in the stash. You know what I'm saying?
Were you waiting for her to take a shower?
Yeah. You gotta do it on the low. You just got, and then they be looking like, well, I thought we was on. Like, you can't say you need to get in the shower. You just gotta be like, what you usually do is you get in the shower, and then you get out. You be like, you ain't getting in. You gotta hit them with one of those, like, you ain't getting in.
I kept the water running.
Yeah, those would be a good, like, you know what I mean. And she's like, well, the water's still running. You're like, or you can always hit them with the, let's take one together.
That's what I mean.
You know what I'm saying? But if I gotta do all that, man, then you know what I'm saying? Like, this ain't gonna happen more than once.
Once, he said once. He followed through, but he just never did.
No, I mean this whole situation. I don't mean I'm followed
through.
I mean up until this point. Stop trying to catch me up. But
I'm just trying to get to the truth.
No, that was tell the truth.
That was it. The truth here.
That was it. No, but it was a. I always say the South is for me it was a great place to grow up. It was very slow. And slow in a fun way, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, we like the parking lot pimp. We like to hang. We like to chill. We like to post.
Because there's nothing else to do.
Truthfully. And, like, you literally... but what it taught me a mind... Yo, no, I'm going to be real with you. He's true. He's right.
I gotta get him back.
He's right. But what it teaches you, if you've ever been to the South and hung out, what it teaches you is we make our... Not, and it's going to sound so cliche, but we make our own fun in the sense of, like, the mindset in the South is, as long as I'm with my team, we're the party. Like,
because everything is kind of spread out.
Exactly, you know what I'm saying? Whereas up here, it's more so about where's the party. And it's a different mindset. Right. It is. That's it's a different mindset. Whereas in the South, as long as we together, like, ain't no better place you could be.
Is that something you had to get used to?
Yes. Almost like... It's almost like a geographical based stunting. Like, you had to make sure you show up at each venue and each location and be seen and be somebody. Whereas in the South, if you solid, after a while, your name will get around.
Now, Everett came from New York and moved to South Carolina, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that culture shock, I'm quite sure where everything was just 24/7 to just so the lights is going to go out at 7. There's no
9
lights after 7.
Like 9 o'clock, but even still, like 9 o'clock hit, and I remember
transportation system.
Oh, child! They had this thing called cats. and it's a lie. They're like, oh yeah, we have a bus and a train. I'm like, that no.
It stops at 5.
Right. I'm like, that is not a train. That is a light rail. I'm like, that is a lie.
It's a shuttle.
All right, thank you. It's a shuttle on rails. I will not. I was like, I will never.
Business hours.
I will never.
I think about the old things on the railroad where it's 2 people just push it up and down. And like that.
It's basically like that. They just put shiny stuff on it, and I was excited because I had a car. Like, I was 19. I went to the DMV, and they're like, "What you doing getting a permit?" I'm like, "Because I'm from New York City. My transportation is the subway and the bus. I didn't need to get a car. Like, I would never drive. My mom always had a car when we grew up in the city, and it was nice. But I was never going to drive.
Parked somewhere.
Right. Yeah, parked in China. I mean, oh my God, my mom would drop me and my sister off at night, and she'd be like, "Okay, Mommy's gonna go park in China, and hopefully we'll remember where we parked in the morning." I mean, 10, 15 blocks later, up in other neighborhoods, trying to find a parking spot. So for me, going to the South, I was like, well, I got a car now. Like, roll into a parking lot, and the building that you need is right across the street. So, I mean, I appreciated it because it allowed me to be able to slow myself down, to be able to appreciate what I was looking for and kind of create my own journey.
Right.
We always went everywhere. My mom took me and my sister everywhere. So that never really stopped when we went to the South. It was like, okay, we're going to go here, let's do this, So
it just took a little bit more gas money, that's all.
It did, and it was okay. And it was always our thing of just pack up and go. Like, if the car was running, we were in it. And I that never stopped me from doing anything. And I always wanted to go and do stuff because I always had people like, I just can't. I'm like, sorry, no, boom, I'm going. Like,
right.
I ain't got time for you.
There's so much life outside.
Right. Like, I don't have time to wait for you. Like, I had to go because I knew that if I wasn't going to go, someone was going to go for me and do for me and live that experience, and I was going to miss out on it. And I am not one to miss out on things.
So we have a dancer and a comedian in the room. Can you tell me, first of all, in terms of being a comedian, how difficult...
What type of dance?
I did the whole
I just
gamut.
need to know before we
I did the whole gamut. Tap, jazz, ballet, modern. I did a stint in acrobatics.
Do you do Luke Skywalker dance?
I do not do any of that.
Okay.
No
exotic training,
right?
I'm just from Florida. I was seeing if that was still a thing.
My current zhuzh is the hip hop scene. That's kind of where I'm at right now.
Don't act like people was not building careers off of Freaknik and dancing for Luke back in the day.
Well, I mean it's a profession now. I mean, right up the street from Baltimore Street, Norma Jeans is right there. So
that's so true.
It is definitely still a profession. But he said Luke Skywalker dancing. That's the new?
That's what we used to call.
Oh, that's the name of it.
It's the freak thing.
She know. Thank you.
I'm not supposed to know how my.
Thank you for helping me out. Thank you for helping me out.
I was a child in a child.
Dressed it up nice.
Dressed
it up nice.
That's what I'm saying. That's the nouveau way of saying it.
We used to hide it and call it that so your parents really wouldn't.
We call it Chocolate City because
No.
I was never up to date with those.
He does real dances.
Yes, the truth.
I do the real
concert.
concert.
Don't catch him out on North Avenue like the Michael Jackson man.
Preserve that.
That dude can dance though. Have y'all ever seen the Michael Jackson man?
I did. I used to live next door to him.
Why every time I have a story, you like, that's my aunt? It's like, no matter what happens,
I live in the city.
It's like, no matter what happens, it's like. Yeah, man. Freddie Gray used to shoot hoops with me back in the day. It's like,
not Freddie Gray, maybe Cabello.
See what I mean?
But Baltimore's a small. People don't realize it's a small place. So if you've been here for a number of years, you know a lot of people.
People going to know somebody, and then
no, you right about that.
You got a bad story, don't you?
No, I just don't like it when
you got something to spill.
Thank you.
I realize this like when I go out of town, something you'll never hear, like certain words you'll never hear in Baltimore. You know how you meet somebody and then after you'll be walking and you'll bump into somebody else you know and you'll be like, oh y'all know each other? Oh y'all know each other? And then after the normal thing you usually say is, it's a small world. But in Baltimore you'll be like, oh. Small-to-more. What is that?
Don't hate. You just gave us this Luke dancing language. We have our own language here.
Yeah, I do.
Don't hate.
It's totally appropriate. It's appropriate.
He talking.
Yeah,
he's in love with it.
Hot dogs.
He's in love with it. Don't come on now.
I see now he's trying to come for the lingo. He's trying to come for the pronunciation.
But I love it here, though.
Don't start asking nobody say two.
I do. I ain't lie. I can't. You heard it.
Talk about
it. Comes some. See, sometimes
it
comes. That's what I'm trying to say, man. Like, it's weird. Like, sometimes when I'm home, people like, what did you just say? And after when I'm up here, people like, you sound country. But it comes.
Well, we're kind of in the industrial South, so we kind of on the fence.
Right below the Mason ditch.
Right, we're right on borderline. So it's kind of
I don't know if we're south or north. I swear, I used to always feel like that. You know,
we have southern ways.
Pick one.
That's the charm of Maryland, is that it's on that cusp of both of them, and that's kind of why we are so country but so
city-like,
northern at the same time. Because we got that good balance.
It's like you'll buy a Lincoln and put 24s on it, but you'll wear phone posits and call them dopes.
I can't.
I get it. I get it.
You know what?
We're done.
I'm mad that it's so accurate. I can't like.
He's reading y'all for Phil.
I'm trying to tell you.
See my face? I'm like,
right. He's just reading you for Phil. That's okay.
But he wants a pair.
I've been here.
He wants a pair.
The Galaxy ones was nice. The Galaxy ones was nice. No, I don't. If they made some wingtip phone posits, I'm like, right, good.
Not wingtip.
I'm done.
You know what?
So in terms of, anyway,
we got it close.
In terms of you, so we'll open up the phone line. You can give us a call, 410-702-5657, and you can deal with these two gentlemen because they're not going to keep coming.
No. Everett, you bay, but
Thank you.
But he just getting material.
Dude.
But he
came
but see, Everett came for us in the beginning.
For a while, huh?
Everett came in the beginning because he was like, I just drove through. I never really, never really stopped.
I didn't get scared. I did. When I first came here, I stopped like the dude at the last episode of The Wire and just parked on 95 and just stood and looked at the city for like 5 minutes. And I just came. It's like, we gonna take it over. And then we're gonna do this and not gonna try me out of here. Then all of a sudden it was like, don't. And I was stopped. I was gonna sing the Wire theme.
See, the entrance to our city is very misleading.
It is. That's just, I tell everybody that I'm like, yo, is it like the Wire? Yes. But is there way more to it? Yes. Like, that is like the Wire is like 5% of the city.
Word.
And that's and if you want to be honest,
I'm sorry, you haven't seen the whole city.
Now to me, I see way more. I see way more positive. I see and I do way more positive stuff in the city, even though I was in Pinto. But my point I'm trying to get to is, I feel like there's a. I'm a West Baltimore guy.
Right,
but anyway, let's see. But aside from all of that, though, straight up, all I'm trying to say is every city has the Wire. Every city.
Right.
There's not one city I've never been to. I'm like, oh, that's y'all Omar. Okay, I get it. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
and here in Baltimore, most cities, you come into the city and you drive through their hood. Like DC, New York, you drive in their hood. Mm-hmm. Baltimore is a little bit different because you get like downtown or Canton Avenue.
And then hop right back on 95.
Yeah, and then you see like, okay.
Like you can come for an event and not know nothing about nothing.
Nothing, and that's the secret.
I drove a little bit through the hood. I drove through.
Look at it, here we go. A little bit.
I kind of looked. I was like, okay, 2 hands on the wheel, look both ways. Okay, it's all right, keep moving. And I was like, but I've been...
Sad man from New York City.
Right. I've been watching way too much HD TV, though. Like, I live for that. So I saw these houses, and I was like, ooh, we going to flip these homes. Me and my husband, we going to start a flipping thing. Ooh, look at that crown molding. Ooh, look at that door. I was like, I can't. I was like, let me focus.
So we're going to take a break, pay some bills, and then we're going to come back with these 2 ratchet individuals. See, I knew Everett was going to bring us out.
I love it.
So we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Right.
Mr. Renee Radio Show.
We call them pen pals in my family.
So glad you said that word because I've actually found out that there are websites, ladies and gentlemen. There are dating websites for men who are incarcerated. Yes. I'm so fucking lonely. I just may sign up for one of those websites.
Don't do it.
Don't you think I shouldn't?
Because they passing your letters around.
Is that what they do?
And one of his friends go send you a letter and then they go wind up asking you for a Verizon phone card and a couple dollars on their books because they just spent all that money.
You know a little bit too much.
Their daughter. I told you I have uncles.
Okay.
I know the game.
All right. Well, we're going to talk more about the game. The topic of the day, you guys, is called Dangerously in Love. Pen Pals.
Edition.
Your little...
Even as a comedian, if I say a joke and it just might not fit your cup of tea, but it's mine, that's a comedian. That's what a comedian is supposed to do.
But people forget
everybody's not going to find your jokes funny. They better find mine funny.
But they forget that, though. They really forget that. They forget that but it's your view. That's why they didn't fire her.
Yeah.
Because her viewpoint is controversial.
Her view. That's the view she sees.
Right.
Everybody is clear to her.
Like they did their reaction to
cellophane.
They did the reaction to the Chris Rock Oscar, and they were talking about Stacey Dash, and I don't think she agrees with Stacey Dash, but she pointed her out as somebody who has an opinion that's just different from everybody else's.
Her opinion is just stupid, though. Stacey Dash she's like a dash. Let's just move on.
I think she's intelligent, but her
You're still going.
opinion.
We're gonna move on. Stacey Dash doesn't need to be talked about. She's irrelevant.
You said her name like 3 times already.
She's irrelevant.
I said it once.
Dash. ... So, I couldn't have meant that more. She is so irrelevant. I'm not even gonna say her name. But we're here every Tuesday, and we talk about people just like that at 7 p.m. only on BeExposedRadio.com.
Business owners need more customers, offer fantasy sports contests, and generate more sales.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
So welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show. We got Mr. Everett in the building, and we got Mr. The hood guy.
No.
I'm
Brad, you know all of that.
I want a Pierre Cardin scarf and an Oxford sweater. What are you talking about?
Is that Pierre Cardin? I knew that was Pierre Cardin.
That's why he turned it
JC
around.
Penney's top of the line, buddy.
See, now that's the country in him right there because he shows the tag. That's the.
I felt like kid just now.
See, my scarf is custom.
Brooks.
I can't with you. I'm over you. See, my scarf is custom from India, so it's a one-of-a-kind piece.
Yes,
so
that means.
Of course, honey. Touch the pashmina.
That's what that means. It's from H&M.
Yes, girl. Touch the pashmina, darling.
Nah.
Oh no, it's like a silk, honey. It's a silk.
I feel blessed.
So can you both give me
Fashion Nova. What'd you say? I'm sorry. What were you saying? I'm sorry. What were you saying?
More like Wish.
Oh, hey, don't sleep on Wish now.
So you have to, because it takes like 2 years for it to actually get to you. But can you tell me your social media, where people can find you, any upcoming events that you may have, so people can maybe send some checks, a free stamp or two?
I'm on blackplanet.com.
Okay.
Oh, Lord. No.
Cut that mic.
You still got a MySpace
you can find me. It's Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at comedian Ivan Martin. And BaltimoreComedyFestival.com. Please stay tuned for what's coming on next year. And as of right now, what we got coming on 2018, BaltimoreComedyFestival.com. This year right now, DCComedyFestival.com, April 10th.
So he cheating on his Baltimore.
No. I'm bringing all the scenes together, because what you fail to realize is the comedy scene is the first scene that's actually united. See, I know about how y'all don't like to get along with each other. I'm bridging those gaps.
We do. It's just we actually
we're frenemies.
Frenemies. Y'all sit at the same lunch table but talk about each other in full period. Y'all be
we
all
need
content.
We all need content. City right here. You got Upper Marlboro right here acting like they part of us. Like, nah, they ain't really see.
Well, no, the problem is when you ask somebody who lives outside of Baltimore, where they from, and they say Maryland, that's frustrating to me. Because aren't we all in Maryland? But then they're like, no, I live in Maryland. Okay. Crazy.
Look, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You are
that's because they can't afford, when those people can't afford, but see, those people can't afford to live in D.C., the people who say Maryland. They can't afford to live in D.C.
Shade.
So they say, I'm from Maryland. Because it kind of like puts them near D.C.
Right. It makes them sound more proper.
You know the ones I don't like the most? The ones that be like, I'm from Northern VA. You're like, yo, get out of here.
I roll to the back of the head.
Unfortunately, it's on the map though, so that's that they're going to take it.
That means they live in Arlington and they don't want to tell people that they live in.
You can't rock with the DC. You know what I'm saying? But you still over the bridge. See you over the bridge, girl.
All over the bridge. All over.
So, Everett, let us know like anything you have coming up, your social media, where people can find you.
Yeah, so I'm on Facebook, Everett Perry Johnson. Oh, love that last name. Shout out to my husband Cortez. Yes, love you. Oh my God, I always want to be one of those kids that like do the shout outs. I'm on Instagram.
So he let it slowly creep out.
No,
he's a real professional.
He used to hear other kids calling the radio on how they shout outs down. And
right.
he like, yeah, I gotta just get it.
I got it.
My whole life for this.
My whole life to shout out.
Yes, do it.
Yeah. I'm on Instagram, Everett PJ1119. Also, y'all can check out my Vimeo page, vimeo.com/Everett PJ. I got all my works up there. I'm working with Bryn Mawr College this year, so excited, and we're doing that performance April 27th and 28th. So
do you do community classes?
I am slowly getting used to, the Philly, Delaware area, so I'm definitely trying to get more into, doing kind of like master classes, community work.
They're not gonna bite.
They won't. That's okay. It's all right.
Or they might, because
I don't know. That's okay. I can bite back. Look. Like my mom used to say, like, don't let this license plate fool you. Just because it says South Carolina don't mean that I'm all humble.
That just means my insurance is cheap.
Right.
Smooth taste.
Thank you.
I say that all the time.
Yes, I'm giving you Boricua realness from Queens, New York. Puerto Rican boots the house down.
So real quick,
did he give out his Venmo?
He did.
Vimeo.
I was like, we can get money.
No. I mean,
but anyway, I'm gonna leave it alone. Sorry, keep going. I was like, did he just
Vimeo.
I tell you, you spent a couple years in Baltimore, and you just, because his mind was like, okay, let me just get my PayPal.
Did you see how I looked? I was
right.
Like, did he give us Venmo?
My Cash App code is.
Then our next performance. I'm like, no, why just
Details.
Like,
that's how you gotta be smooth like that. You gotta be smooth like that. See, he planned it, so you gotta plan and slip it in there.
Forget these shout outs.
PayPal me / you just gotta know how to smooth it in there.
Right, you gotta smooth like it.
But so my last question to both of you would be, what advice would you give to your 17-year-old self? Not to change anything, but just, hey, this may happen, and I'm giving you some options. So, what advice would you give to them?
She gonna break your heart anyway. That's what I would tell him. Man, she gonna break your heart anyway. Just keep doing it. You good, bro.
Stop spending all that money.
No, we was never caking on him like that.
See, he didn't look at us when he said that, so that means
right. He was
that
allowance
was definitely anyway.
He's still looking away.
So somebody broke your heart?
They all do, pimpin'.
That voice went up.
They all do.
What an active hit. You know you lying.
You lying, bro. You still hurting a little bit. It still sting a little bit.
No.
I just brought it back. I'm sorry.
Look at that. Nate just bringing out
He
all the
ain't
truth
never
out
gonna let go of that
here.
gas station. He ain't gonna let go of that. He ain't let go of that burn. Trauma. You invoked some trauma.
He gonna need that emergency cigarette right now.
I know, right?
That's your emergency
Maybe
right
you
here.
should pay
Right.
You know what?
The question is, how much did she get you for? How much did she get you for?
Like a cool 1,400. And I'm still I'm joking.
You had 1,400 at 17 years old? No, I don't want that 17.
He was saving. He was like a good saver.
Right.
Look at the shoes. Look at the shoes.
Oh my gosh.
These are Suede. Brooks Brothers.
That's what I'm saying.
Brothers Brooks.
Brothers of Brooks.
I
Yes.
didn't think anybody saw that, but I saw the
You
price.
can find this entire ensemble at Steinmart.
I'm over you.
In case you're wondering.
Ross on a good day.
No,
Right.
no, don't even.
Yes.
See, we don't do that.
Yes.
We don't do that. Okay.
See, he thought that y'all had the Wendy Williams, shoe cam, on loan. That y'all was, on loan from today. So he's over here trying to show.
I look at people's shoes. So, Mr. Everett, what advice would you give to your 17-year-old self?
Oh Lord, should have came out a lot sooner. I didn't really come out into like myself until I was in college, but I think there was a lot that I was like afraid of and scared of.
What were you afraid of?
Oh, you grew up in the church, and they say gay is bad.
So you were the only one?
Oh, child.
I mean, I wasn't being shady.
No, and the funny thing is, I wasn't in middle school and in high school. Like, I knew I was different, but because of my effervescent personality, people just kind of latched onto that and kind of used it to their advantage instead of letting me be me. I kind of was just like, no, it'll be fine. Like, so, if that was just like the only thing, because like everything else, it kind of worked itself out. Like, I relocated to where I needed to relocate. I needed that change of pace. I'm very much a person where if I stay in one spot too long, I get antsy and I get bored and I just get frustrated. So for me to be able to move and like experience different areas and to, kind of just get that life experience and to be able to, try new things. That's how I'm always about. And so that would just be like the one thing, because everything else I did, I traveled, I saw the world, I moved to different places, I met great people. I have people that I've known since birth and, people that I met yesterday, and
but
so
all of those things can't take the place of what was going on the inside.
Right, exactly. Because like you have to be able to just kind of come out of yourself and just like and own your truth and not be ashamed of it and not feel bad about it. Because it's your life. Ain't nobody else going to live it but you. So, just all nice and philosophical, on this Saturday morning.
So, Nate, what would you tell your 17-year-old self?
Yes.
First of all, stay out of my business. I mean, for me, and I started doing that question because for 17, for me, it was like a defining moment. It was the moment where Santa Claus was a novelty, and you could choose to believe in him, but you knew what the truth was. You saw the receipts, you saw the the Toys R Us bag, so you understood things, but you still didn't have the experience to match what you were seeing. So the veil is lifting, and you could be shocked or punched in your gut, or it could be an easy transition. But for me, it's just show up as yourself. Like I felt being an actor that I was a character, and I just got used to being a character. So I would eliminate my personality and just step into what I thought was comfortable for other people. I didn't realize just how dope I was. So just being yourself.
He started tying his ties like that.
But see, he won one. That's the thing.
Thanks, man. I need a blue one.
I was looking at that. I was like, "That's a cute. I can use
I get bored, so I'm an artist, and sometimes I got to do things with my hands. Speaking of that, we have the Maker Series coming up, and we want you to come on. Whatever you make, if it's a joke, you can show us how to create a stand-up routine. Or our first one will be next month on the, this month. Damn, time flies. On the 10th, we'll have AJ Hayes. He's going to come. He does mini zines. They are mini magazines. And he's going to show us how to actually make them. So we'll be on here making them live on air. So if you want to show us your craft, your talent, and actually come on air and actually show us, come on, hit me up. Info at the Artist Exchange Radio Show or the Artist Exchange Radio Show at gmail.com. Or you can give me a call directly at 443-839-0118. So definitely hit us up, and we'll have you on. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. I definitely want to talk more with you all. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show only on BigExposedRadio.com.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets. With millions of YouTube views, shares, Instagram likes, followers, and fans across the globe. But what do all these amazing pets have in common? Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a shelter or adoptable pets near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard? Well, that's entirely up to you. Visit theshelterpetproject.org and hear more about Hamilton the Pug, Toast, and Keyboard Cat's amazing adoption stories. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Your perfect pet is just a click away at theshelterpetproject.org.
And it just might not fit your cup of tea, but it's mine.
Yeah,
that's a comedian. That's what a comedian is supposed to do.
But people forget
everybody's not going to find your jokes funny. They better find mine funny.
But they forget that, though. They really forget that. They forget that but it's your view. That's why they didn't fire her.
Yeah.
Because her viewpoint is controversial.
Her view.
It's
That's the view she sees.
Right.
Everybody is clear to her.
Like they did their reaction to
cellophane.
They did the reaction to the Chris Rock Oscar, and they were talking about Stacey Dash, and I don't think she agrees with Stacey Dash, but she pointed her out as somebody who has an opinion that's just different from everybody else's.
Her opinion is just stupid, though. Stacey Dash she's like a dash. Let's just move on.
I think she's intelligent, but her
You're still going.
opinion.
We're gonna move on. Stacey Dash doesn't need to be talked about. She's irrelevant.
You said her name like 3 times already.
She's irrelevant.
I said it once.
Dash. ... So, I couldn't have meant that more. She is so irrelevant. I'm not even gonna say her name. But we're here every Tuesday, and we talk about people just like that at 7 p.m. only on BeExposedRadio.com. You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com, the home of Talk Lately with Monty, every Tuesday at 7 p.m.
The Artist Exchange Radio Show every Friday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., every Saturday, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Real artist, real talk, real live on BeExposedRadio.com. I was meeting with a friend yesterday.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Hey, what's up? Welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show here live only on BeExposedRadio.com. We're back. We just there's a hello. So he's not answering his phone now. So we're gonna have to just call him back. So we are here to help you. And these two awesome young men came down today to be a part of the show. And I was really, I like nice people. Sometimes it's in the world of art, you don't come across nice individuals. And we're here to help you. We're not, here, I wasn't going to pull out exes or, shoot them with some paternity test or anything like that. So we don't do that here. But the Artist Exchange is built around engagement. If you want people to spend their money on your services, your products, your events, your tickets, so on and so forth, you got to open up a little bit and show people who you are, and not be afraid to communicate or touch people, and be open to who people are. Money is tight, and if you want people to spend that money on you, you got to go a little bit further. And the reason that a lot of what we call mediocre artists are winning and business people are winning is because they have that engagement thing down pat. So we really want to help you do that. So if you're an artist and you're looking for some cost-effective measures to help yourself do that, one, we don't charge for interviews, but you can come on and do an interview, but we have some wraparound services that'll help you get yourself out there and market yourself. So again, the Artist Exchange Radio Show at gmail.com, or you can call me directly at 443-839-0118. This has been another edition of the Artist Exchange Radio Show. Real artists, real talk, real live. Thank you, Mr. Ivan.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Great
Mr. Everett. Real quick,
yes.
Let us know where we can find you at on social media. Send some checks.
All
food
right.
Stamps, bite coins.
At comedianivanmartin.com on Instagram and Facebook. You can catch me at Motor House every Wednesday, each and every Wednesday, with my guest host, Garrett P. Harbis of Yurdy ENT, and also a Morgan State alumnus. You can also catch me.
I was about to say, and you from Morgan?
No, I'm not. My guy is, but the host of my co-host is. Also, February 16th, I'll be doing the Black Hilarity show with many other local black comedians in the area, honoring a lot of black comedians from the past during Black History Month at Exit the Apple Art Space on February 16th. My boy P. Avenue and Jamila and them. And then after that, February 23rd, showcase at the Motor House, and February 18th, that Sunday, Mount Vernon Marketplace, right up the street.
Definitely coming next.
I like them. They got good food. But definitely send us your flyers, your marketing, and we'll definitely share it out for you. So this has been another edition. Sorry, Raquis, we're going to have to get you on Friday.
No. Everett, you gotta give yours real quick.
Oh, yeah.
All right. I ain't forget you, bro. See, I was like, boom. Go ahead.
Turn around.
I'm looking at time. Go ahead.
So you can find me on Facebook at Everett Perry Johnson, and on Instagram, Everett PJ1119, and also on Vimeo.com/Everett PJ. You can see all of my works, not Venmo. And I'm debuting a piece I'm doing for Bryn Mawr College, April 27th and 28th. And I'm actually really excited. I'm doing my first residency with Saluda Trail Middle School back in Rock Hill, South Carolina at the end of the month. So I'm really excited about that. Working with all the middle schoolers, all of them. So
pray before you go.
Oh yes,
I know, right? Estrogen.
I know. Middle school is just like ooh, but it's exciting. It's really exciting.
That means you're getting paid for it.
That is true. All the points.
So thank you again. We'll see you next Friday with all new guests, all new topics, all new show.
All new ties.
All new ties.
All new zhuzh.
Yes, the zhuzh.
So definitely don't go anywhere. Up later on tonight at 7 p.m. you got the Up and Coming. That's what the name was? The Upcom. On the Come Up. I'm sorry, it's a new show. On the Come Up radio show with Mimi Howard and Booby. They'll be joining us. Well, they'll have their own show at 7 p.m. tonight. Tune in. Thank you. Peace out.
Good day.
Y'all ready? Yo, who at the door?